If you've come here to hear me talk about my failures, you've come to the right place, and I hope I won't fail with delivering on this one. So let's go. Cheers. Welcome back, everybody, to the weekly navel-gazing session where I air all my grievances and try to explain why I haven't uploaded a video and stuff like that. And we'll do the same thing because I want to just keep at least these videos going while I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And yeah, let's talk about the books I read. Let's talk about the videos I didn't make, and let's talk about what I plan to do this week, because I do actually plan to do some videos this week, and hopefully I'll actually manage. Who knows? It's all about mental health and stuff, and I'll do go into that later on. But if you're sick of me whining about like how my life sucks, you can just skip off after that. But you know, here we are. I also already can tell in like 2 weeks, that would be the 28th, I assume? I'm not quite sure. 29th, possibly. That Saturday, I want to do the next Marxist monthly malcontent thing. So there will be another live stream. We'll talk about stuff. I've been reading a lot of theory, so the Marxist might be more of a thing there. We will see. Anyway, beyond that, let's talk about what I read last week. Let's talk about all the other things. And, well, thanks for sticking with me while I'm just doing nothing except complaining and stuff. Alright, so what did I read? Well, did I finish that before? I think I finished that one before. Last week, Connecticut Yankee at King Arthur's Court by Mark Twain, which is a brilliant book, and you should go and read it. And I am continuing to read The Once and Future King by T.H. White, which will be part of that whole Arthurian monstrosity that I'm building up. And I am enjoying that one very much as well. I feel that the whole arguments that I want to make in that final video will be pretty good, at least for these first 2 books. Up next in that list will be The Mist of Avalon and Spear by Nicola Griffith, and possibly even The Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell to kind of cover all the bases of what current Arthuriana is doing. We'll see. I did finish reading some more like theory on Arthur as well. I read a monograph on marriage, inheritance, and adultery in Sir Thomas Malory's Morte d'Arthur, which was really enlightening in a lot of ways. I'm really enjoying that one. I have some other more theory on the lying around, which will be about representation of Arthur in modern media, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm doing Arthur research is my point here. And I did read another book, one that I was really excited about, and that was Forge of the High Mage by Ian Cameron Esselmont. It is a new Malazan book. I was happy to read it. I really, really enjoyed it. I just haven't had time to actually record anything because I was not at home over the weekend, like from Saturday on, and I finished it like at 10 p.m. or whatever on Friday, so I didn't have time to record it, which leads me obviously to videos. I didn't do any videos last week. We'll talk about it in a minute, but I plan to do videos this week. And Forge of the High Mage, a spoiler-filled discussion, will be one of the things that I'll do as soon as possible, because there's stuff to talk about. And if you haven't read Forge of the High Mage yet, and you have already read Path to Ascendancy, then you should definitely go and read Forge of the High Mage, so you can watch that video and we can, all argue about all the beautiful things happening in Forge of the High Mage. So that's one of the videos that I definitely plan to do. There will still be a video about Maror. I'm still aware of the fact that I haven't done that one, as well as obviously the videos on certain Discworld novels. I'll try to get all of that done this week. We will see if I manage. It's been something of a messy week. Oh, something I forgot to tell that I read was some texts of theory of Marxist stuff and critical theory, because I'm down that rabbit hole again as well for a long-awaited video about the role of the author and things like that. And I did read, or reread in this case, Walter Benjamin's The Artwork in Its Age of Mechanical Reproduction, or whatever it's called in English. And it's a very powerful text. If you have ever read it, congratulations. If you haven't and you're interested in, sort of views on what mechanical reproduction can do to art and artwork. I highly recommend it. In general, I obviously highly recommend you reading anything by Walter Benjamin that you can get your hands on. Brilliant thinker. And I did read The Society of the Spectacle by Guy Debord, because I feel that might help in combination with the culture industry and Enlightenment as mass deception by Adorno, and that Walter Benjamin thing might be important in a certain video about a certain, the the current situation, current status of book publishing in fantasy fandom, and possibly Brandon Sanderson. We will see. It's a project. So that's what I'm doing. I might revisit Mark Fisher's capitalist realism as well, to further out the bases for that video maybe this week. So that's sort of where I am reading wise. Arthurian stuff for fiction, and Marxist stuff for non-fiction, unless I go and reread some more theory on author as well, like academia on author. And videos, for the High Mage, Maror, and Discworld to get back up to date with the Discworld read-along. That's the plans for this week, possibly. We will see how I manage. But I definitely try to bring up at least one more video. Because, well, I didn't do well last week. I was really bad. Like, after, Easter, I had, a really tough time with mental health, with depression. I spent most of the week in bed. I spent most of the week in bed. I did still read, but it was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go back out to the gym and actually get my shit together. It didn't happen because there's a lot of, external things going on in my mind, and that did unfortunately kind of prevent me from doing anything, and I do feel really bad about it. I'm trying to change things, but it's goddamn hard. And I'll come back to that in a minute, but I first want to talk about the Arthurian, not the Arthurian video. That one I feel I have mostly in hand. See, I've read most of the theory that I want. I have a structure in mind. I know what I want to do. I know what I want to talk about. But in order for it to actually fully work, I do just need to read those books. And it turns out a lot of Arthurian books are pretty fucking huge. Turns out the audiobook for T.H. White's Once and Future King is 33 hours. The one for Mist of Avalon is 50 hours. I am really, really thankful to Nicola Griffith for making Spear just 5 hours. I'm really, really happy for that. So that's just a lot of just reading. And none of this has been exceptionally difficult reading or anything, but it's you still need to get the hours in, is my point. So that's what's currently preventing me from finishing the Arthurian video. But I feel like I'm more or less fed up with reading theories. One of the things that I usually do when I approach doing academic work, and I'll maybe go back to that in a second as well, is I read and read and read and read until I feel like I can't read anymore, because it's just I'm overfull with information. And that's when I try to sit down and hopefully some form of overarching theory or argument or whatever structure has coalesced in my brain, and then I'll just vomit it all forth in one take. That's usually how I operate, which is, to be fair, not a very good way of doing academia, or not a good way of doing anything, just saying. But that's kind of how I work at the moment, and that's where I feel I'm heading with the Arthur. The theory part, I'm full. Yeah, I can read more of it and may increase the quality of the video in some minuscule ways, but I'm basically done with that one. I just need to finish the reading of the fiction texts to apply the ideas on, and that just takes time. So there's that. Let's talk about the other part, the larger Brandon Sanderson related video. Because that one is still giving me a lot of grief. See, I've promised to talk more about it. The whole connection of personalized brand marketing, parasocial relationships, all of these things, how the book market has changed. And I am working on that, but it's very difficult to structure that because it's a very long argument, and there's possibly things I need to split off into separate videos. There's a lot of theory in there. As I said, I've just been rereading Walter Benjamin, which is important, culture industry text from Dialectics of Enlightenment by Adorno and Horkheimer. I think needs to be in there. Guy Debord's Society of the Spectacle needs to be in there. That's a lot of theory. And while I personally like theory, and I think it's important in this case, there is like a line I feel that I need to walk between making a argument in like an academic context and making it entertaining and to actually do something. See, I can probably do like the theory stuff and just talk about all these elements, how they come fit together, and then like most people watching it, unless you're interested in Marxist theory, will just like shrug and move on. But that's not the point. The point is to actually show how something that's going on in the way fantasy is currently produced, marketed, and consumed is fundamentally broken, and we need to get out and change that shit. So there's an activist element to it, and I guess you've realized by now that I am something. I mean, I have something of an activist approach to most of my videos. I want you to take something away from it and possibly go and be better people and make the world a better place. Now, that's obviously a lot of hubris on my part. I'm aware of that, but if I'm unhappy with something, I want that thing to change, and so I need to talk about it in a way that could possibly contribute to doing that. And that's sort of where I'm struggling with the Brandon Sanderson publishing whatever video. Sanderson will be in there because Brandon Sanderson's current marketing strategy is just a perfect example to show what I'm struggling with, what I'm opposed to. But there's other elements to what Brandon Sanderson does that are particular to his productions and his relationship between his actual texts and other elements that may just overburden the video. So I'm still trying to figure this shit out, because there's an element of didactics to making these videos. I was never trained in didactics. I'm not a teacher. So I'm making this shit up as I go along. So I need to figure out how to structure it, how to keep your interest in it when I'm just rattling off my critical theory quotes and shit like that. That probably won't do well. So yeah, it's a bit complicated. I'll try to do my best, but it'll probably take another couple of weeks until this thing is fully ready, because I just need to get there. And all of that obviously does connect with my lack of productivity in the last couple of weeks. Because see, that's been bothering me. I've talked about it before and all that, and the problem is that a lot of shit is going wrong in my life. I've never made much of a secret about that, but and I'm certainly currently in a very weird place, both mentally and very much financially in a lot of ways. One thing is I really hope this video works, because I broke the lock on the media mod on my camera, and it may just be that leads to the sound being very fucked, and I can't afford a new media mod right now. So we'll see how that works. Anyway, my point is there's all these interactions, and a lot of stuff has happened over the month that has me question who I am, who I want to be, how I want to be that person, what I want to do in life. It's weird, because you built up your self-image in a way, and then suddenly you find that some bits that were core to your, in this case, my personal identity, who I think I was, I think I am, or who I want to believe I am, or whatever, that suddenly you can't fulfill parts of this performance in a way. Because at the end of the day, we're all performing our, self in a lot of ways. We try to be someone, we create that ideal self, and then we try to actually fulfill that. And when you realize parts of that are you're suddenly completely failing at being one part of that personality, that really hits hard. And that's certainly something that I've, experienced over the last year, that a lot of bits and pieces that I thought I suddenly couldn't keep up with. And the question then, of course, is did I overburden my self-image, or the person that I wanted to be? Did I overburden that? Did I just lack interest, energy, whatever? All of this means that I have to either come to terms, figure out how to be the person that I want to be, or figure out if the person I want to be is actually the person I can be. Because one of the two things doesn't fit right now. And that's certainly something that has, made life difficult. The fact that throughout all of that, I've been very much paralyzed in a lot of ways that are important when it comes to, keeping up some sort of discipline in everyday life, keeping places clean, actually figuring out how to make money, or at least enough money to, survive and shit like that. I've very much let a lot of these things slide over the last couple of months, and I've reached a point where that does hurt a lot because, for all kinds of external reasons, I'm very much broke right now and I need to have some money back. There's some people that owe me money, there's people I owe money to, and most of that is out of my control, and that shit just takes you down. It just drags you down in a lot of ways, and that certainly doesn't help. But throughout all of that, like the last year, I feel like the channel and doing these videos has been one thing that I've tried to be more or less consistent at, and to put out videos that I'm at least more or less happy or confident about, or whatever, has been like the thing that I've kept up as like one of the parts of like that ideal self that I could still deliver on in a way. And when I just like didn't put up anything in the last 2-3 weeks, that does like sort of like lay the axe to like the final tree, so to speak, in my self-evaluation. So that's really, really bothering me at the moment. And so I'm like, yeah, how do I change that? What do I do? Like, I have these like 2, 3, 4 major video ideas in the back of my mind, but I've come to a point where I'm really struggling with like doing anything, and that's not good. And I'm trying to figure it out. Don't worry. I feel like Forge of the High Mage might actually help there because it's something that I can do fairly easily. But a lot of other things need to be figured out very soon, and by very soon I mean like this week, maybe next week. We'll see. But that's what's probably also holding me back. That struggle with like things I know I need to do and just can't get myself to doing. And because of that struggle, also failing to do the things that I'd love to do and could actually do, because I'm now just like busy with questioning myself or just giving up and not even doing anything. And that's not a good place to be, is my point. So yeah, now I've whined a bit more. I'm sorry about that. As I said, it's a fucked up situation. I'm sure I'll get out of it one way or another, but right now it makes me somewhat slow in doing anything. I'm really sorry about that. Anyway, thanks for listening. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry it was once again a bit of a downer thing here. I'll try my best to get out some videos this week, and I'll try to talk to you some more, and we'll do the live stream in 2 weeks, and it'll be glorious, I promise. And then, who knows, maybe I'll even get out that long-ass video about critical theory and the Society of the Spectacle and how the publishing industry is bad, actually. And then I'll become a very, very famous leftist YouTube creator. I guess not. But, who knows? Point is, I feel strongly about these things, and I want to get my strong emotions out there for you. Anyway, that's it. Have a great week. Thanks for sticking with me. I do really, really appreciate it. Liking, subscribing, becoming a patron. All of these things do obviously help. At the end of the day, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have something to say, and drop it in the comments. I do actually appreciate that a lot. So, I don't know. Have a good week. Read some good books. Do some fun things. Enjoy spring. Unless you're, on the southern hemisphere. In that case, enjoy autumn, I guess. And I'll see you very soon. I hope. Cheers.